the founder of Scarefest. She owns Ghost Chasers International. She also owns the Ghost Hunter Shop. And she's not only a world-renowned paranormal investigator, but she's an author, a writer, a lecturer, a consultant. Am I missing anything, Patty?
No, I think you read my description correctly.
Good. You have a very long resume. I was like, good Lord, she can do pretty much everything. But after 30-plus years of experience, I would think that you could probably do a lot more than is listed.
Well, I'm trying to do as much as I can. I think that's why life is so wonderful and beautiful. It's just we continue to want more and do more and live more.
True that. So tell the audience a little bit about what got you started over 30 years ago in the paranormal field.
Well, I'm not, I'm sort of like a lot of people that got started in this field, where they had experiences when they were younger, and as they grew older, they became very curious about those experiences and then really sought after them. I think that's what makes a lot of ghost hunters out there, including myself, have the passion for this, is because of the things that happened to us. I know that at a very, very young age, I was seeing and hearing and talking with spirits, and when I would go to my parents, like all good parents, they wanted to reassure me that it was probably my imagination, or maybe I had been dreaming, and I'd get pretty adamant. I'd be, no, really, that happened. And because I came from a very strict Baptist upbringing, it would worry my mom a little bit, and she would say, "Oh, for God's sake, don't tell the preacher." So, and there were just a lot of things that would happen to me when I was younger that I had to pretty much keep to myself until I got older and realized that these things were really happening.
Yeah, they're definitely, I can so relate to the actual telling your family kind of thing, because I know about the Southern Baptist hardcore beliefs, and they would think that you were crazy. And my mom, however, had abilities, so she could relate, and she was always telling me, people don't understand, what we can do or what we see or whatever. So, or feel. So, we kind of just kept it in between me and my mom, and didn't really tell a whole lot of my family because of the Southern Baptist views on things. So I totally relate to that. Since you've had numerous experiences over your 30-year plus span of, I can't even imagine of all the places that you've been, and all the things that you've seen. What are your top memories of, I guess, being face to face with a spirit being? I mean, what stands out in your experiences?
Oh, my goodness. And you know what? It's really funny. I get asked this a lot. And I promise you, every time I get asked, I'm always so almost overwhelmed at, oh my gosh, what? Which one this time? Which one, And right. I think for me, the most amazing thing, and, I always tell people I don't have horrible, I don't have scary, I don't have terrified. And I've been very blessed in my career. I've just never had to deal with a lot of mean or evil or demonic or hateful spirits. I feel like I've been very blessed. I tend to tell people also that I've learned more about life from the dead than I have the living. And so I think the most awesome thing sometimes that happened to me is when I deal with children. And not too long ago, I was in a situation where I had been in an abandoned TB hospital. And for years, I would go about once a year, especially when I was taking my students from the Bluegrass Community Technical College. I would take them to certain places for part of their course. I taught a course there. And while I was there, every year that we would go back to this, I would get this little girl, and she would give me a message. And one time she gave me a message, and she just simply said, "I've been sitting here all day." And I thought, oh, wow, how fantastic. It was such a clear voice, too. And then she said it again I found it again on my recorder. She said it again. But this time when she said it, I was talking. And so as I talked over her, it was hard for her to hear her say, I've been sitting here. But then I stopped speaking, and the all day came through real clear. And I thought, oh, my gosh, not only did she speak twice, but and that was very unusual to capture an EVP where they keep repeating themselves.
Right.
So I saved it. I saved both of them on my computer. The first one, I labeled it as I've been sitting here all day because you could hear that. She said that when there was no one speaking, so it was a very definite EVP. But then the second one, because she was speaking while I was speaking, I mean, you could, if you listen really clearly, you could hear it. But as I stopped speaking, the all day came out perfect. So I saved both of those EVPs. And then I was getting ready to do a seminar at one of the colleges, and I thought, oh, you know what? I am going to play the two new EVPs that I've got and talk about how fantastic it was that she repeated herself. I guess really trying to get my attention. And they were only just seconds apart. In other words, she says, I've been sitting here all day, and nobody did anything. And so a few minutes later, she says it again. I've been sitting here all day, like she's trying to make a point.
Right.
But the strange thing that happened was when I went to play back the first one, it played perfectly, and I put it on the PowerPoint and listed it. And then when I went to do the second one, I went to listen to it, and my voice is gone where I'm talking and explaining something to the student. My voice is gone. It's garbled. It just, all you can hear is like, you can't even hear my voice. And I was like, oh, whoa, what happened to my voice? And then the little girl spoke, but this time she said something totally different. She said, did you get it in the camera?
What?
And I went, yeah. In my computer, she changed the EVP. And I went, what? And then I played it over and over and over. And then I thought to myself, how can I get her voice in my computer? I mean, she said, did you get it in the camera? I said, oh, my God, how did I get that in the camera? Oh, my gosh, she's talking about my camcorder. So I ran and got my camcorder, hooked it up to the TV at the time, and there is my recorder where, it showed me walk down the hall, the dark hallway, and then it showed one of my students asking me the question, and then I turned to answer the question, and then the first time she said, I've been sitting here all day, and I thought it was awesome because I captured it in the video. So now here I have her speaking on audio and video. For me, that was a first to get her in two different mediums, and the fact that she repeated it was another first, and the fact that she changed her message in the computer so that I wouldn't miss that very valuable piece of evidence that I had in the camcorder that I would have never caught if she had not changed that message for me.
Wow, now that is a helpful spirit, is it not?
It is. And to me, that is my most amazing.
he was on morphine. I'd put all his medicines, taken it, he had taken all his medicines I gave him and stuff, and it was time for bed. And he was upstairs, I was downstairs. The man had like an eighth of a lung, so he never had the capacity to walk downstairs to see where I even was sleeping. So he'd never been down there. And I was on the phone, and my door kind of cracked a little bit, and I thought it was his cat, and then it cracked a little bit more, and I swear on my life that he was standing in my door. But when I asked him, "Are you okay?" the doppelganger turned really slowly and walked away from me. And I thought, oh my God, if he tries to go up the stairs, he's going to bust his face. And so I went chasing after what I thought was my best friend, Kenny. However, no one was there, and he was upstairs. Now, this doppelganger looked exactly like him. I couldn't make out his face because the light from the street, but he had on his gray hair, his sweatpants, his sweatshirt, all that he always wore. And when I went upstairs, he had on his sweatpants, but his sweatshirt was off, and there's no way he could have moved in 2 seconds up, 2 flights of stairs upstairs. So he saw absolutely nothing, but I was so petrified because I have heard that if they see their spirit form or whatever, that it's pretty much like what I've been told is it's like a Grim Reaper type thing. Like it's coming for you or whatever. And so it freaked me out so bad. I stared at that door for like 2 hours going, please don't come back, and please don't let him have seen that. And he didn't see it, but 2 days later he went in the hospital and he never came back out. So the doppelganger thing is a kind of a interesting type subject for me because it's a personal thing. So I just wanted, since you've had 30 years experience, I figured I know she's at least had one doppelganger.
I have had many, but most of mine are, and also, I've had a couple experiences like you where they were close to death, but then I've had experiences where they're very healthy and happy, but yet they'll be there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And it's kind of freaky,
Yeah, my friends were like, one of our mutual friends up in Seattle, he was totally making fun of me thinking that I was nuts, and I'm like, I'm telling you what I saw. And it scared me so bad that I shook for like 2 hours because I was just petrified that my friend was going to die in the middle of the night, and I was the only one there with him. So, it was that was a game changer for me. I was already into it, but that kind of catapulted me into a whole nother realm of, studying the paranormal. We have one question in the chat room for you, and it is, have you had any experiences in the distilleries in Kentucky?
Yes, that's a good one. Let's see. Went to Heaven Hill. I think it was where we went. I've got to think about that because I've been to several. And I had an awesome experience. We actually went to the grave of the founder of Heaven Hill, and I had a tape recorder, and I was asking some questions standing by his grave, because sometimes I'll do that and they'll answer, they'll answer me through, and then I can play it back. And I wasn't feeling anything, but it was really funny because it just so happened that I picked the day to do the investigation on the founder, and his last name was Heaven Hill, his birthday. And anyway, when we played the recorder back, we got this woman screaming, just screaming like crazy. And, of course, there was no one there screaming. I even had a couple of the executives with me when I was doing this. And come to find out, the day that he was born, him and his mother, and their family, was in a cabin, and it was being attacked by Indians as she was giving birth to this man. So I just thought that was pretty cool.
That's very cool. Anytime there's anything Indian in it, I'm all about it. I have children with Blackfoot, and I'm very interested in anything Native American for sure. I know that we have a mutual friend that we both love very much, and Mr. Chip Coffee.
Oh, isn't he awesome?
I love the man, and
yeah, you just made my evening just by bringing his name up.
he's a sweetheart, and he is one kind of hoot. I'm telling you, he kept me in stitches. We actually filmed a DVD together, a documentary, and we did it last June, and that's when we met, and we became fast friends. And of course, me being a big fan of his, I was so almost starstruck at first.
Oh yeah.
But then he's like
to be.
A regular guy. Don't
do
that. And he is, and we were just right away friends. And we talked about, I was asking him, have you worked? I know you worked with Zach Bagans. What's he like? And what's Aaron Goodwin like? And oh my God, I would love to have Nick Groff on my show. And all this stuff. And then he goes, well, I tell you one lady who I really admire, and that's her. Her name is Patty Starr. And you.
Oh my gosh, no way! Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, I can tell you what with the work that I've done with Chip Coffey, I will tell you, and I don't say this unless I absolutely mean it, but he is about the most real and the most authentic psychic that I have to say that I've ever met. His talents have been unbelievably amazing, and I just feel like he's the real thing. And I often call him an earth angel because there's just so much, and and I'm sure that he's very modest. But I'm telling you, I've just seen him do way too many things to persuade me to think just the absolute best of any individual that has come into my life. He has just been. I absolutely cannot say enough good things about this man. He's just phenomenal.
I know. I mean, I was, like I said, I was so excited that Brad and Barry told me, go pick up Chip Coffey at the airport. I'm like, are you serious? And, and they're like, you know what he looks like? And I'm like, well, duh. And I mean, I've been watching him for years and I love him. Yeah. And so, yes, of course, I know what he looks like. And then they send me to the airport and I was all nervous about this being a huge airport. And it was Joplin, Missouri. Okay. So the one baggage claim and that was it. And, we had such a good time. We laughed so much, and Brad and Barry were so sick of us by the end of that week, cutting up and stuff. But he is an amazing psychic, and he is. He walked into that bordello, and I mean, boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
And we had told him nothing.
I know you don't. I mean. We did some travel for about 3 years where we did the college circuit. And I would be amazed. We'd get in the car with the student that was assigned to pick us up at the airport. And this was to take us to the colleges. And, of course, this is before he got his shows and things. And he would just be in the car with that person and say, excuse me, but can I ask you, are you blah, 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 blah? And the driver would almost lose control of the car because he couldn't believe that Chip was, picking up on something, whether it be about a girlfriend or a mother or a lost object. And these things would just pop into his head and he would start talking. I mean, I witnessed so many things. On the airplane, I'd be sitting there and a lady would come up and start talking to him and then he would just start relating to her some things and next thing you know, you've got this lady that is on the plane with us crying because he's made contact with a sister or a mother. It would just blow you away. I mean, it's just constant. I mean, he is just, and I have never ever been with him when he got anything like vague or wrong. I mean, it's just so specific names and dates and incidences. I mean, it's, when people say, oh, they're just guessing those things, there's no guessing about what Chip Coffey does. It clearly comes through.
No, not at all. And let me just say that when he came to Dallas for his coffee talk, my wife and I took him and Greta and Mike all out to dinner to Rockfish. And there was a little server that was doing training, and she had been there maybe a week and a half. Mm-hmm. And she came up to follow the lead server to kind of, train under him. And Chip goes, honey, can I ask you a question or just can I say something? He doesn't intrude or he doesn't.
He's very sweet about that. He is.
Yeah, he's real big about that. So he goes, is it okay that I tell you something? And she goes, sure. And her grandmother had passed just recently and she was more like her mother.
Yeah.
And the girl was just now getting back into the swing of life again from
Right.
mourning.
Yeah.
And Chip goes, your grandmother wants me to tell you to stop fretting about her, that she is fine, that she's with you, that you will never be without her. You can't see her anymore, but she loves you, she's proud of you, and you're going to be great. And this girl was at our table bawling on, training, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That just...
See, now, and see, when I was traveling with him for that 3 years, it's like everywhere we went, every stop we made. I mean, he is just that good.
Yes, and just the heart of gold that he has.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
The sense of humor, he can get a little, it can get a little wild, but you know what? He made my whole entire week there in Galena hot as hell. We had so much fun.
I used to tell him that he'd missed his calling. He should be a stand-up comedian because he has such good and quick wit that he keeps us going. Like my husband and I, Chuck. There's been many a times we've been down to Atlanta and we're riding out to dinner or something. Sometimes he'll tell a joke, and I swear it's all I can do to keep the car on the road. We're laughing so hard.
Yeah, your face hurts real bad after you get away from some coffee, from smiling.
That's right, absolutely.
Well, I'm so glad that we have that in common for sure. I'll just have to tell you that I have paranormal goals that I have set for myself because recently I've learned I'm an empath. So I've been speaking, I've spoken at 3 different conferences now, and they're like they asked me, like Brad and Barry asked me, what are your goals? And I'm like, my first goal is to go to the places that I have on my bucket list. The second goal is to speak at Scarefest. And they're like,
oh,
wow. And I'm like, I go, hey, if you're going to go big, go big or go home. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Scarefest, and I've never gotten to go. I've wanted to go. I'm not going to get to go this year either, because I have my wife and I have been together 18 years. So we are going to go to Las Vegas and celebrate, and it just happened to fall on the same weekend as Scarefest. So
no. I've heard that. Yeah.
I'm like, come on. So what can the people expect from Scarefest this year? I mean, what is on the lineup for Scarefest this year? What am I missing, in other words?
Oh, my goodness gracious. It's been a great year this year. Last year, I'll back up. Every year, I don't think it can get any better and better. But it does, and I don't even know how that happens. I just promise you, I don't even know how that happens. But I do know that before I get into telling you a little bit about Scarefest, we have the most awesome volunteer group that I could ever hope to have. And they're talented, they're dedicated, they work very hard and very long, and they get very, very little, recognition because, of course, it's kind of hard to stand up and thank 120 people. So, but before I ever start really commenting on Scarefest, I just would like, in case any of them are listening, to know that we could not do Scarefest without our awesome volunteers, our organizers, our staff members. We just couldn't do it. So before I say anything, I want to say thanks to all of them. Now, let's talk about Scarefest. So Scarefest is,
How did Scarefest come to be, actually? I mean...
Well, that's a good question. I'll tell you exactly how it came to be. I do the certification classes, and for 8 years I taught at our local college, and then I decided just to start having the classes at my ghost hunter shop. And so one year I had a student, his name was Jeff Aldridge, and he graduated, got certified, and we started doing some pretty good investigations in our area. And so one day he just came to me and said, you know what, Patty, I think you and Chuck would love to do something like have a horror convention. And I'm like, oh, no. I am not a horror person. I don't like those slasher movies. I'm sorry. I never watched, Friday the 13th, and about the camp and the stabbings and the Kruger with the hands that slice people. Like, oh, I just can't do that. So he was like, oh, but there's conventions out there right now, and people are hungry to meet these horror stars, and so I looked at him and I said, well, Jeff, can you tell me, has there ever been like a horror paranormal convention? And he said no. And I said, okay, then I'll do it. We'll do the first horror paranormal convention. And by that, since you have the knowledge of the horror, you can bring them in, and I'll put my talents together for the the paranormal, and we'll make it a horror paranormal convention. And that's sort of how it got started. Chuck and I, Chuck is my husband, and so we kind of dug into our retirement, and we said, we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. So we had it at one of the big major state-of-the-art facilities, where we could make sure that, we would have enough room for all our vendors and our stars and our fans, and it was a terrific hit from day one. And it has grown, and there's been some changes in our staff, and also when Jeff came on with us, he was like our event manager. He's left since, but it doesn't nothing wrong with that. People sometimes just have other opportunities that they go to. So we have continued to grow. So this year we're bringing in a few different things. We're going to have more parties. We're going to have more shows. We're going to have, along with the stars that we normally bring in, the horror stars and the paranormal stars and the seminars, we want it to be a place where you can just take the whole weekend and just let it be one big celebration of let's just get crazy and have fun. And I'm finding out, though, that a lot of people have met at Skip and have become these great friends, but the only time they see each other is at Scarefest, which I think is awesome.
Yes,
So that's sort of the direction. We're just wanting to keep it more of a family type event with just so many things to do when you get there. I mean, you just almost need to plan on getting a weekend ticket if you don't get the golden and the platinum tickets. At least get the weekend tickets.
Yeah, I mean, the events that I've been to, I've been to Phantom Fest, where Chip was last September, I think it was, or October, I can't remember. And I went to the Belvoir Winery with Chip and Amy and Adam, and had an amazing time there. But I've never been to a huge like Phenomicon, Scarefest, things like that. So I mean, I'm going to speak at Phenomicon next year, and I'm excited as can be about that. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. But I'm seriously, the goal is Scarefest 2015. I need to be there. I've been saying that for like 3 years now. Every time I'm like, dang, I want to go to Scarefest. Dang, I want to go to Lexington, Kentucky. Because there's Waverly Hills, and there's this, that, and the other, and there's so much to do around there. And I've never been to Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes. We're kind of excited with the, for our, we've got a list of our horror stars that we've got. Sean Astin, he's been in so many big time movies, and also Corey Feldman. But we love them because they were in Goonies, and also there's a Goonies 2 that's coming, and I think Corey and Sean have agreed to be a part of that as well. They're kind of excited about that. And then we got really lucky with Child's Play with Catherine Hicks and Alex Vincent. And then, of course, we have one favorite that we bring every year, and that's Kane Hodder. He's just an awesome guy. And then we have Sean Whalen and the Chainsaw Massacre number 2 with Caroline Williams and Bob Elmore and Sid Haig and Bill. I can't remember if it was Sid Haig or Bill Moseley. You have to excuse me, but I think it was. I'm backing up. It was Bill Moseley, and we have a new guy that we haven't seen on the circuit. in this area anyway, Robert Mukes, and we're pretty excited about him. And one of the Walking Dead guys, Julio, I think he played Julio. His name is Santiago. Yeah, so we're kind of excited about that. And then, of course, we also have a full paranormal listing that we're pretty excited about.
Yeah.
And, and of course, my favorite and your favorite, we've got to have Chip Coffee. But we also have a lot of the TAPS members, Grant's coming, and we have Chris Williams and Dustin Perry, and we have Adam, and we have Amy, all of those from, the Ghost Hunters. And I love John Zaffis. I mean, he is just an awesome guy. But our new lady is Amy Allen from Dead Files, which I'm real excited about. Yes. So we've got, it's a pretty good lineup that we're all looking forward. And we've got a couple of more announcements, and I think they'll be out next week. And then that puts us right about 40, a little over 40. And let me tell you my favorite. Now, you're going to laugh at this one, but I'm kind of looking forward to meeting Gary Busey and Jake Busey, his son. Yes, because
I'm sure you are. Prepare yourself.
I know. I just love that commercial where he's like, "Hello, lamp. Hello, chair."
Yeah, he's a trip, and they always show him on TMZ, and he's like saying some crazy off the wall stuff, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know that I could have a conversation at all with him.
Well, he's got these things called Buseyisms. So if you go to his website, you can read those. I think he's going to be a hilarious character to me. I loved him in the Silver Bullet movie. With Corey Haim. It's sad that Corey's not with us, but that was a good movie. I liked that movie. I enjoyed that movie.
We have lost some really awesome people in the last couple of years to weird things. So, that is, I really want to meet Amy Allen. I've been trying to get John Zaffis on my show I think he thinks I'm a stalker because I just like John Zaffis, and Chip loves him too. He's like, "Oh, John Zaffis is awesome," and I'm like, "Well,
he is." Like, and see, John. Yes, and John was sort of on our when we were doing the colleges. John was also a really big part of that, probably a bigger part than we were. And sometimes our paths would cross. We'd actually get to hang out together, and so he really is an awesome, very, very talented and. Well-versed in what he does and, really down to earth for some of the things that he's seen and had to deal with. And he has such an awesome background. Yeah, and I'm so excited that he's coming to our Scarefest this year. He came to our very first one, and it just absolutely thrills me to have him at our very first one. And then, he got really busy, and wasn't able to take an invite on the next, I think 5, and then he came to 6, and then he's coming to 7. So I'm really excited to have him.
Yeah, I've also been speaking with Steve Dushavy from Dead Files. He's looking at his film schedule to be on my show, and I'm really interested in hearing his side of what it's like to work with Miss Amy Allen because
right, that would be good.
She's very animated. Like when she does a read, the faces that she makes, sometimes I'm like, wow. I mean, it's just to watch her. Every psychic works different. And like I'm friends with Dakota Lawrence, and I'm friends with Chip, and I'm and I love Teresa Caputo. Okay, I love the little Italian lady. I think she's hilarious. But like Amy is different from all those. She has her own style, and. I like watching her. I mean, I think her and Steve, I love Steve. I think he's a great, investigator. I think he's a great researcher. And when they come together, some of the faces that he makes with some of the drawings that she comes up with, I mean, she's turned that skeptic into a believer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to have him. If I can ever get him on. I don't know if I'm ever going to get John Zaffis on my show, but I hope to talk.
Oh, don't give up. I'm sure he's a super, super, super busy person, but don't give up on him because he'd be a great guest.
Oh, I know. And me and Chip, like I said, Chip was telling me who the great people were in paranormal. You know, these are the people you need to watch, because these are the ones that are trailblazers. And he named you, and he named John Zaffis, and, you know, he named just certain people. And, you know, I was so thrilled to meet Amy and Adam that I was almost giddy like a little kid. And they were just the nicest.
Oh, I get like that, and when I meet them all, and people laugh at me, and I said, I can't help it. I'm just like a little kid when I meet these people.
So what other events do you have lined up? Do you have anything besides Scarefest? Like investigations or?
Oh yeah, I do a lot of, I stay very, very active with that investigations. A lot of times it's just for, you know, families, things of that nature, but I also do a monthly mystical fair. It's called the Paranormal Mystical Fair, or Mystical Paranormal Fair, I'm sorry. Mystical Paranormal Fair. We call it the MP Fair, and we have that once a month, and we have that at my Ghost Hunter shop. And we have, oh my goodness, we have about 20 psychic readers, healers, energy workers, and then we have 8 or 9 vendors that come in and vend. It could be someone that sells soaps and oils, or someone that sells jewelry or tarot cards, or, you know, ghost hunting equipment or whatever. I mean, it's the type of vendors, what they sell. You can't really go to like Walmart or someplace and buy that. So we try to have really unique vendors come through. We have a lady that takes oil pictures, and people come there, and we open Friday night from 6 to 9, and then we're open all day Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5, and people will literally come and stay all day. And what makes it really neat, Selena, in our little fair is that people get to go into a private room for a reading. It's not like a lot of your psychic fairs where everybody's all open and you're sitting beside a table, and you're trying to get a reading. It's very nurturing. You go in, and most of the time the bright lights are out, and we just have a lamp, maybe a candle, and some incense, or maybe, you know, whatever to make so it affects all your senses. You know, it's very calming, and it's kind of neat to be able to have that sort of atmosphere at a fair. And of course, all our vendors are open to where you can walk around from room to room to the vendors. But you can actually have privacy when you go in and do your psychic reading. So it makes it really nice. And the next one is this weekend, yeah.
Oh, cool. I've also heard a lot of bragging about your ghost walk.
Oh, my God. The ghost walk, we're having so much fun. We actually got a picture of almost a full apparition of Jesse James, and he even has on a white cowboy hat. And last night we had an awesome investigation, and a lady took a picture, and we got this great face. I mean a face. I mean, not just something that looks like a face. I mean, we got a face. So the ghost walk, we always get, like they turned out the lights for us last night on request. I asked them to turn out the light, and they did. And I tell people, I said, this is not rigged, I promise you. And we have doors that open on request. Sometimes I'll ask them to get close enough to the meter so I can ask yes and no questions. But see, the only thing is it doesn't happen every single walk. Sometimes all of it happens. The meter goes off. I get a great EVP. The lights go out. The door opens. And, of course, the crowd is pumped. You know, they're like, you know. And then there's times when only I can get one piece of it. Maybe the lights go out and that's it. Or maybe the door open and that's it. Or maybe I'll get the EVP, or maybe just a few beeps on my meter. So, you know, some nights we have, I mean, it blows everybody out of the water, and then some nights we don't hardly get anything. And that's just the way it is with ghost hunting.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always, we can't always
like
count
the show on TV, because that all 3-4 days of an investigation is cut down into an hour show. And so they don't understand that, and it kind of hurts us a little bit, because when we do have a public event and we do have people that never have ghost hunted before come out, and then nothing happens, they're like, well, this sucks. And it's like, well, I don't understand that we can't have them perform on command. I mean, they are free will, and they're going to talk to us when they want to.
That's right.
and you have to be kind to them. And in the chat room, Eric, my producer, he said that he personally thinks that it's your intention and sweet spirit that attracts spirits to you that are of good nature.
Yeah.
I myself, they call me the ghost magnet. Because of me being an empath, it seems to be that ghosts like are flocking to me. At investigations, and I'm like, being an empath, it's like sometimes fun and sometimes it's not so much fun. Now, I just got home from Calvert, Texas this morning, actually, and that place is like, it's got a really bad reputation for a lot of hangings and Ku Klux Klan crap and just all kinds of things. And last night, I think I have never in my life experienced an object disappear in front of 8 people, witnessing a car pulling up with the lights on, interior lights on, parked behind our cars. We're at Orvis's, this guy named Captain Orvis, at his mausoleum. And we see this car pull up, and I'm like, okay, all my equipment is in the car, and I don't want nobody stealing it. So somebody needs to go check out who that is. I mean, it may be a cop finding out what we're doing at the cemetery. So 4 of them walk up there, and we're watching them walk up there to go see what was going on. And all of a sudden, the car is just gone. And
what? Are you kidding me?
Like, I'm not joking. We were like so flipped out. The 4 that went to go check on it, I said, they didn't even get up to the road yet. Why are they already coming back? And they were all mumbling between themselves, and I'm like, the car's gone. What happened? And they go, when we got up there, the interior light was on, the parking lights were on. The next thing I know, the car is not there anymore. They were even counting the cars, and they're like, this is so strange. Well, then we go to a nursing home after that, an abandoned nursing home where they just piled everybody in a bus in the middle of the night. And their personal belongings are still everywhere, like clothing, personal photos, and their medical records. And they just abandoned this hospital. And we're sitting there doing an EVP session, and I see this man with the flashlight, like, walking really fast by the building. I said, there's somebody coming up here to see what's going on. We all go over to the window to see him. Bobby and them go out to check on him. He's disappeared. I'm like, okay, then how do they call this freaking town the Bermuda Triangle? This is getting so weird that I don't even know that I'm believing that I'm mentally okay right now, because I've never in my life I've witnessed apportation of small objects, like a penny or some kind of a screw or something thrown at us, but never has a whole entire automobile been there 1 second and not the next. So
that is incredible. That's pretty cool.
So I don't know what to think about it, but it was a lot of fun. And I don't know about you, but I guess it's the same for you, that I get the biggest adrenaline rush off of doing what we do. I am more afraid of living people than I am the dead. So
I know exactly what you mean. I do. I know exactly what you mean.
So I was wanting to ask you another question. Of all the places that you've been to, can you tell me what one of your favorite places is? I know there's several on your list, but what's one of your favorite locations to go to?
I am very, very, very prejudiced about the little town of Bardstown. I just absolutely love that place. And I think for cooperation and also for reactions, I would have to say the Talbot Tavern, because I can almost guarantee during my ghost walk, and I practically do this, I tell everybody something or someone is going to get or see or experience something on this ghost walk. And they usually do. Even if it's just one person, it still comes true. But I would have to say the Talbot Tavern. I have tremendous and anytime I get great evidence. And anytime any of the media or TV shows or anything like that say, okay, where can we go where we'll know we'll get something on camera, I always say Talbot Tavern. Let's do it. Let's go to the Talbot Tavern.
Wow. So of all the locations that you want to go to and haven't been to, and I can't imagine there could be many, Yeah. Do you know of any that you haven't been to that you would like to check out?
Well, for a long time, I wanted Gettysburg. I just thought, oh, before I die as a ghost hunter, I have to do Gettysburg. Well, I've already done Gettysburg. I guess that was like the last thing on my bucket list. You know, I'm getting pretty close to the bucket.
Hey now, let's not talk. I have a bucket list too. And when Brad and Barry and I were cruising up to Duff Green Mansion, actually, they asked me for my paranormal bucket list, and needless to say, it was almost 3 pages long. And they're like, "Holy!
Oh
crap."
my gosh!
I'm like, "Hey man, I'm just getting started," and they're like, "Well, we did this, we did that." I'm like, "I know, punk, hush. You know, you've had your chance. It's my turn." So I'm really excited because I get to go to the Stanley in November with Chip for the Lost Lambs Foundation.
Good.
And we're going to do that. Well, I'm going to see him there. I'm not going with him. And then I get to go to Tombstone in next May.
Oh, wow.
In Tombstone.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then like a week or two after that, I finally get to go to Gettysburg. So,
oh, my goodness, good.
I'm
You'll love
extremely
Gettysburg.
Yeah, I am very excited. So I wanted to ask before it's getting close to time, but I wanted to ask you, for those people out in the audience that are just now starting to get into the paranormal, can you give them any advice starting off on maybe things that you did to get better evidence? I mean, any tips or anything like that?
Well, I just feel like any time that you have an interest, and then as the interest grows and the interest becomes more of a passion, the best thing you can do is to find someone in that field that you feel that has had years of experience and is very knowledgeable, and through either that person or maybe some type of course, no matter what it is you want to be. I mean, if you want to be a quilt maker, you wanted to learn how to scuba dive, the best thing you can do is to get educated, to find out do's and don'ts, to find out requirements, to find out what's worked and what hasn't worked, and what other areas have been exhausted and what areas are weakened and hadn't been looked into. And I think with that, it comes the desire to research, the desire to study, the desire to find out as much about just about everything. I always tell, a lot of times I'm asked to go to like grammar schools and speak to the 6th graders, and the first question I ask is, how many of you here would like to grow up to be a ghost hunter? And I swear to God, they all raise their hands. So it's so cute. And then I say, do you know what subjects you really need to excel in order to be a really good ghost hunter? And they're like, oh, what? And I said, all of them. Because you need to know about, the sciences, and you need to know the histories, and you need to know the things about our universe. You need to know how energy works, how light bends, how sound permeates. You have to, if you could just learn a little bit about everything, a lot of times it really helps to make sense when you're trying to put all the evidence together. Even learn about family dynamics, learn psychology, learn about different psychological handicaps and medicines that people are on. And because all of that will come into play when you start to interview families that are having problems. I mean, you just need to know so much in order not to make harm when you go in instead of make help. And so that's probably what I would recommend.
That's definitely good advice, because that's the one thing that my team fear. If there's a situation that we're not equipped, so to speak, whether it being something a little hairier than we're normally dealing with, and we need assistance, we don't try to say, oh yes, we can take care of that, or we can get rid of that, or whatever. We will call someone that specializes in that to assist us with that.
Good.
And that's because that's the problem. And Chris Dedman was on my show about a couple of months ago, I guess, and we were discussing how that's what makes the paranormal so bad, is because these people just go, oh, let's just start a team, let's just do whatever, and they go out and mess around, and they mess with something they're not supposed to be messing with, and it causes more issues for the family than before they got there. And then they just up and they get their evidence, and then they just up and leave the family hanging.
Oh yeah, that's sad.
And then we have to go in sometimes and clean it up. And it's leaving a bad taste in some people's mouths, and it kind of is hurting the paranormal field a little. I mean, actually a lot, for people to do stuff like that. Because what I'm trying to say is, if you can't handle it, don't mess with it. It's not a game. The spirit world is to be respected and treated as such. And if you can't handle what you're doing, then just don't. That's the best thing I could tell them. And I haven't even been doing it this long, but I learned all kinds of from different people. I mean, for 7 years I sat and was depressed about my mom, so that's all I did was watch Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and Ghost Lab and the haunts, anything that had paranormal anything to do with it, even a little tiny segment, I would watch it. So I've learned all kinds of error cues and this, that, and the other. But the main thing that I always try to remember is to respect the spirits. And I think that's probably why I have not, knock on wood, run into any type of demonic spirits, because that's what everybody seems to go to these days is, oh, it's straight up demonic. And it's like, no. And, if they were grumpy in life, if my grandpa passes away, he's grumpy now, he's probably going to be grumpy in death, So, I mean, I like to respect the spirits, and that way I don't stir up anything that I can't wash off with soap and water. And I always protect myself with prayer.
That's true.
Before and after. And, I just think that's good investigation. When you know what you're doing and you don't mess with something you don't, and you protect yourself with your faith. That's what we
right. And I like getting prepared. A lot of ghost hunters, I think, and I really appreciate all the ghost hunters that are out there, because what I like about all the individuals that are doing this right now is because we are so unique in our own talents, in our own research, in our own education. We bring so much to the table, all of us, and we can look at it and, by being able to listen to what has happened to others, just like me listening to you and what's happened to you. It seems like every time I do that, I learn something new for myself as well. Right. So I think it's really important how we continue to, as a ghost hunting community, share things. I think that is just absolutely awesome, and I love seeing that. And you see more and more of that as ghost hunters come together with their groups. For me, there are so many fantastic, amazing, and unbelievable people out there in this field that it makes me proud to be in this field.
Myself as well. And I want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your Sunday evening to speak with me. And I know my audience was extremely excited, and I appreciate
thank you so much, Selena.
And I hope to meet you very, very soon. I've heard so many wonderful things about you, so hopefully I will get to meet you soon. And thank you.
And hopefully I'll meet you too. Thank you so much.
You have a great evening, Patty. Thanks a lot.
You too. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. She is amazing. Never heard a bad thing about her. And Scarefest, man, oh man, it's like on my major bucket list. So if you can go to Scarefest this year, I would suggest you get tickets to it. Just have a couple of announcements to make real quick. First off, we have a couple of events I want to announce. Dakota Lawrence in New Orleans at the Gemini on August 30th. The 5 o'clock gallery is almost sold out. We have tickets for the 3 o'clock gallery. I don't know how many we have left, but with the ticket purchase, you will receive a free ghost hunting investigation that night at the Gemini with Deep South Paranormal's Kevin Betzer, Chris Melanson, the owner of NOLA Ghost Hunting Tours, and we are going to do an investigation that night at the Gemini with your ticket purchase. Phantom Fest is September 26th and 27th in San Antonio, Texas. You need to get your tickets now for that. VIP tickets are flying off the wall, and Dakota Lawrence will also be appearing there. Mississippi Parafest, which is in Vicksburg, Mississippi, is October 3rd through the 5th. That should be a complete blast. I want to thank my sponsors, Miss Hattie's Place in Belton, Texas, Galena's Murder Bordello in Galena, Kansas, which I will be seeing some of them in a couple of weeks. We are going up there for a trip. And last but not least, NOLA Ghost Hunting Tours. My partner in crime, Chris Melanson, and I are working hard to bring Dakota Lawrence to you, so get your tickets now. Don't miss out. Next week, I have Teal Gray on, so please be sure and join us next week. If you want to find Fear, find us on Facebook, Fear Paranormal Society, or look us up at fearparanormal.wix.com/fear-1. And I will see you next week. Everybody have a good one. Peace out.